Hey, boy, that's the car.
What's wrong, officer?
Boy, you're in a heap of trouble. Violation City Orders 11-14, operating a racing type vehicle inside the city limits.
Oh, officer, this is the new Dodge Challenger RT. It's not a racer.
Ain't I? What kind of tires, them, boy?
Optional polyglass GTs.
Racing tires. Them stripes, them, boy, what you call those?
Racing stripes.
I suppose that's a reconverted lawnmower motor.
Optional 440 Magnum V8.
What's that doohickey in there, boy?
Well, that's a new optional slapstick racing shift. So look, it's got concealed wipers, and it's got dual headlights. You don't find that on any racer, do you?
Careful, boy. Our bookkeeper's as a law officer.
If you can handle the way people react to your 1970 Dodge Challenger, you could be Dodge material.
Now, look, boy, I know a race car when I see one.
Can we just be frank here and say it? American muscle cars, and when I say that, I mean all of them, are just way too cool. Even after 50 or 60 years in some instances, there's no other cars that look better, are more fun to own, or more universally admired by almost everyone. Big block, small block, it doesn't matter. There's just something about the muscle car era generation of cars that speaks to people. And not just to the age group of people that grew up with them, but across generational lines, even to different cultures around the world. I may be different from the average motorhead in this thought process, but when I look at a Ferrari or Aston Martin, or any of the high Zoot Euro supercars, I understand that they're very fast and exotic, but they're just not my cup of tea. I'm still drawn to the Detroit Iron with the cool wheels, white lettered tires, bold exhaust note, instrumentation with orange needles, and the pounding torque kick of a big inch V8. That's American. That's how we roll, and I'm proud of it all day long, and twice on Sunday. The somewhat rare term, common geezerism, is a term that portrays that everything that happened a generation or two ago was always better, healthier, more virtuous, and more satisfying than modern trends. With that said, I hope this narrative won't be dismissed as just one old man's reminiscing about the past. I must admit that I have to concede that today's cars are functionally superior to cars from the not too distant past. For instance, air conditioner power loss on today's cars is a couple of horsepower with their modern compressors, compared to 12 horsepower or more loss with the old piston types of compressors used in the 60s. Computer management means the engine starting and running flawlessly in all climates and altitudes, and getting much better fuel economy that we could ever have dreamed about with our old muscle cars. However, in spite of all that computer management magic, even now I don't mind pumping the gas pedal a couple of times in the morning to set the choke in the carburetor, and to put some raw gasoline into the intake manifold. Frankly, I don't care whether my mobile phone integrates into my muscle car's AM radio. Nor do I give a hoot whether I can speak hands-free toward the dash, and have it to speak back to me and tell me where to find a 5-star Italian restaurant. Seriously folks, I don't want my muscle car to parallel park itself, while I sit by uselessly, without so much as touching the steering wheel. At this point, I'm sure you have already ascertained that I am a child of the 50s. Truthfully though, I have many fond memories from that decade. For instance, remember when your parents used to preach to you that you'll only get out of something what you put into it. I usually heard that line during lectures about schoolwork, but I'm going to grab it here and reapply it. Obviously, my muscle car doesn't have power 6-piston caliper disc brakes. Its repro, bias ply tires don't track as straight as new radials do, and its manual steering effort won't let me tool through town with just one finger on the steering wheel, which means I do have to work a little harder to steer it. But just think of the satisfaction and pleasure that I get out of all that effort though. How often have you seen this scenario? A young mom in a minivan, or a khaki-clad businessman in a foreign sports coupe, talking on their cell phone trying to rearrange their day, as the rollback tow truck winches their stone-dead computerized car aboard it for a ride to the repair shop, where it'll take even more computers doing their digital dance to unlock the mysteries of why the car won't run. In contrast to that, The old low-tech car with a carburetor and a set of points could be revived right there on the side of the road with a bit of basic logic, a couple of screwdrivers, an adjustable wrench, and a pair of vice grips. I find that the only modern feature that I really miss having on my muscle car is cruise control. It turns out though, that a cable throttle lock device was an available accessory that could be installed by the dealership on many of our cherished muscle cars. I am not being negative here, but I don't really care for anti-lock brakes, which are government-mandated standard equipment on almost all modern cars. Real-world tests have proven many times that ABS actually slows down the onset of a vehicle's deceleration, which can actually mean the difference between contact or no contact in an accident situation. Oh, they're great for the driver in over his head when it comes to modulating the brakes and counter-steering. But given the choice, I'd rather not pay the extra $1,000 or $1,500 that the unnecessary system adds to the sticker price of a car. Also, have you ever had pay to replace an ABS sensor or ABS master cylinder? Believe me, it isn't cheap. But here's an even better reason why I really love old muscle cars. Each one of them is a little slice of freedom, built during a time when we, the public, were entrusted with greater freedom than we have now. It used to be okay to advertise cigarettes on TV, but not lawyers. Now that scenario is completely reversed. The United States Congress is now packed with lawyers who've shifted the laws of our nation in their favor to allow them to sue anything with a pulse and a pocket. We are told though that it is all for good causes. It is for the environment, the children, our safety. We are forced to surrender our freedom one piece at a time by allowing the government's massive expansion. We are at a pitiful point in our nation. The government has the power to pick our light bulbs for us, grope us in airports, dictate which of us may be medically treated, and how we are medically treated if we should become sick. Freedom lovers should say no more to that nonsense. Our freedom is the good cause here. That old car in my driveway, the one with a Mavericks Persona, a powerful engine, and not a single computer in it, reminds me that this country, in its not so distant past, was all about freedom. I pray for our nation's return to its former zest for life, its youthful exuberance, while its rolling exhibition of freedom all spoke to me back in the day. Dear Lord, please let me live long enough to see those days again.